Hi everyone, my name is Ann Rogers and I'm a data manager at PMA, and the purpose of this video is to show users how to create a repository in GitHub. If you're unfamiliar with GitHub, please see our earlier videos, check out the GitHub help site, or the GitHub SOP. Before we get into the step-by-step details of how to create a repository, let's first go over what is a repository. A repository is one of the basic elements of GitHub. They're easiest to imagine as a project's folder. A repository contains all of the project files, including documentation, and stores each file's revision history. Repositories can have multiple collaborators and can be either public or private. PMA uses repositories to organize our do files. We have repositories organized by survey type and action. For example, we have both the HHQFQ cleaning and monitoring repository, which houses all the do files used for cleaning and monitoring of the PMA household and female data. And we also have the HHQFQ analysis repository, which houses all the do files used for the analysis of PMA household and female data. Now, users will rarely need to create new repositories, as most of the repositories storing PMA's do files have already been created. But should you have to create a repository, these are the steps. Go to github.com and you will see this black toolbar at the top with a plus symbol all the way in the right corner. Click on the plus symbol and then click on New Repository. This takes you to a page that says Create a new repository. On this page, you can set the owner of the repository, the name of the repository, the description of the repository, whether it is public or private, and whether or not the repository will have a README file. If you are creating a repository for personal use, leave the owner as your account. However, if any PMA do files or data are intended to go into the repository, you should change the owner to the organization. For the purposes of this video, we will be changing the owner to PMA training. The repository name should be something related to the files that will be stored in the repository. For this video, the repository name is Create Repository. And the description of the repository will be about what files are going to go into the repository. So we say that it is the repository to accompany the How to Create a Repository demo video. This particular repository is public, but any repository you create that has identifiable information about our respondents, such as the cleaning by RE do files, should be made private. And then we select to initialize this repository with a README, because that makes the repository instantly clonable to Gitkraken. And then we leave these two drop-downs at their default level. And click Create Repository. Now that you have created the repository, it takes you to the repositories page. Here you will see the organization, the repository name, you will see the description you set, and you will see that there is an initial commit, which was the creation of the README, because remember we selected initialize with README. Any repositories page, you will see here the commits and the files that are in the repository. Currently we only have the README file, and if there is a README in your repository, the full text of it will appear at the bottom of the repositories page. The last key element to creating a repository for PMA is to protect the branches. We'll go into more detail about branches later, but protecting a branch means that members of your organization can't delete branches within a repository. This is important because we're using GitHub to track version history, and we don't want to accidentally delete any versions that we previously had of our do files. To protect branches in a repository, go to the Settings tab of this repository. You will only see the Settings tab on a repositories page if you are an owner of the repository or if the owner of the organization allows members to adjust the settings of repositories. Once you have clicked Settings, you will see a variety of options show up in this left panel. To protect the branches in a repository, select Branches, and then in Branch Protection Rules, select Add Rule. Now, you should name the branch rule after what it does. And since we're using this rule to keep branches from being deleted, I'm going to name it No Delete. Now, the base branch protection rule prevents branches from being deleted. If you want to add additional layers of protection, these other options are available. However, for PMA, we only use the base branch protection to prevent deletion. Then click Create. It will prompt you for your password. And there you go, branch protection rule created. And that's it for creating a repository. If you want to learn more about GitHub, Gitkraken, and PMA's rules and protocols for how to use it, please watch our further videos or read the SOP. Thank you.